Hey guys, it's Coach Bricks.
Coach James.
Game Changers. Hey, I want to talk about what I hear a lot from a lot of people, not just athletes who play sports, but also athletes that are older, adults. And it's like, hey, I go to the gym. Okay. Doesn't mean you're doing something correctly. I shoot a basketball, doesn't mean it's correct. Okay, or I kick a soccer ball, doesn't mean it's correct. Just because you do something doesn't mean it's correct. And I think that's where a lot of the problems come into play, because people go to the gym and they all of a sudden get hurt. Yeah, first they're all gung-ho, they're all fired up and stuff, but as soon as they start to feel discomfort, not so much the soreness part, but something doesn't feel right because they're doing it wrong, then they stop, and then you're in a bad state. And I see it too often, I hear from too many people, and it's got to stop, okay? If you're going to do something, do it correctly, all right? So get the advice you need to make sure things are going right, because too many athletes, like I said, ones that play sports and ones that don't, are just banging themselves up. It's not good enough just to go to a gym. Yes, that's a good start, but you got to know what you're doing. That's why I think a lot of people go, because they like machines. Machines kind of keep you in that fixed range. Unfortunately for a machine, they're trash. All machines technically are trash. As most people know, I really don't have many. It's a couple that we use. But the body is the key. You got to be able to train the body, and dumbbells, I like outside stuff, so stones, logs, and those things are much, much better. But if you're in the gym, dumbbells and things like that will work. Why? Because it's taking your body and you got to mold it where it needs to be. Okay, but you got to know what you're doing. I can't tell you how many athletes come in, especially adults. Oh, I go to the gym, now my shoulder's killing me. They show me what they're doing, and I'm like, well, you're doing that incorrectly. No wonder my shoulder would hurt too. You got to know what you're doing, and you can save yourself a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort. Okay, that's what you need to do. You need to find somebody who knows what to do it, or go to a place that actually has people that actually are educated enough to train it correctly. Not just looking at you joking around all the time, but actually train that thing correctly, because there's nothing worse than moving incorrectly. Because it might not bother you right then, but it will eventually catch up to you if I'm moving incorrectly. If I'm doing a shoulder, if I'm doing a front raise incorrectly, and I'm grinding on the bone, and the joint's not moving correctly in there, eventually, guess what? Hey, first couple of weeks, I'm feeling great, months, I'm feeling great, then all of a sudden, man, my shoulder's really bothering me. Then all of a sudden, you're gonna start taking time off, and then you're gonna stop going to the gym at all. That's not what the gym is for. It's for making progress to make you better. So don't use that and hurt yourself there. That's where you're supposed to get better. So Coach James, what do you hear from some of the adults and things like that out there, why they don't work out? Or why, if they do work out, you know what I mean, they just go to whatever, some Globo gym?
So I think a lot of things that I hear that with people that especially go to kind of more of the corporate kind of like larger scale gyms is that it's easy for them. That it's everything is that they have, like at Planet Fitness, I know they have their little circuit of that they have, you follow a circuit, you go around, and you have 5 different things that you do every single time, and it's easy. And that's what everyone loves, is something that's easy and something that's structured, where coming somewhere like here, you don't know what you're gonna be getting. You are getting these different exercises, you're getting put into something uncomfortable. And that's what people are always afraid of, is doing something uncomfortable. And I think the other thing is that I see a lot is with those people that they come in with those pains and doing something, and we see it with a lot of other athletes, is they're doing whatever exercise it is, and they might think that they're doing it correctly, but then they find out when we ask them where they're feeling that exercise, they're feeling it in a complete wrong area of where they're feeling it. So they might be doing the exercise right in their mind, but they're not even working the area that that muscle and that exercise is intended. So having that trainer, having that coach that is helping you understand of, okay, we're doing this exercise, you should be feeling it here. Okay, we're not feeling it there. What can we do to actually engage those muscles? And actually that trainer and coach can understand what they're actually doing and how to on the fly make those quick changes and do stuff like that, where they can help recorrect and re-educate the athletes, adults, younger athletes, to have those muscles engaged properly.
Yeah, and I think that's key. You brought up a good point. Is just because you do an exercise doesn't mean you're feeling in the right spot. Okay, the human mind, and you have to start reading into this, because it's starting to become bigger and bigger. And the more I dive into it, it's what the sports performance realm is really missing, in my honest opinion. Some people are getting into it now, but it's how the connection of the mind and the body have to work together. Okay, really the whole body overall. When it doesn't function right, you could be doing an exercise and not feel anywhere close to where it should be. Why? Because other muscles have now dominated and taken over that area. And guess what? Eventually you're going to burn out. Eventually you're going to have pain. Eventually you're going to have problems. Even if you say, hey, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing it right. You have to make sure that the human mind is also functioning correctly with the body. And that's really what's happening is all throughout that motion is these electrical currents going through, and the fascia is helping it out. If you don't know fascia, look it up. All right. As we learn more and more about this. But these things are all vitally important, as Coach James said. We have people do exercise and they tell me stuff and I'm like, nope. We have to re-educate. I can't tell you how many adults I'm re-educating right now on where to feel it. Once they get it right, okay, this is the great part about it. They get so fired up. They're like, wow, I didn't know this was what I was supposed to do. And then 2 weeks later, they're coming, dude, I feel better than I ever did before. I was doing these exercises and man, it was bothering this and bothering that. Yeah, because you were using the rods in the wrong area. So just because you do something does not mean you're feeling in the right spot. And that's why you come here, that's our focus. Our focus on making you better. We correct kids all the time. I mean, they've been coming in for a while, but you lose sight of what you're doing. All right, you're not focused in, and you're doing split squats, and all of a sudden, you know you're doing it wrong. Coach James, Coach Quentin, myself, we're out there making sure that you get it right. We're fixing it. We're like, it's off. Fix it here. Oh, okay, cool. And then we can also make tweaks to it if you're not feeling it or you're feeling it in your knees. I have a couple people that come in, coming off some injuries. Hey, that bothers me here. Good, we'll make a modification to this right away. What are you gonna do at the gym? Try to figure it out on your own and you have no idea? Not worth it. You wanna make sure you're on the right path, getting stuff done, and this is where it happens right here as I continue to study the human body. That's one thing I will not stop studying. Unlike most trainers and stuff, they just go with what worked for them in the past. And unfortunately, not always does work. They just think it works, or they're not evolving with what's going on. All right, the sedentary lifestyle, the inactivity, the one sport athletes, all those kind of things. You got to keep evolving so you can know why the body is doing what it's doing, and then so we can correct it and make sure it's back on path. So, this is Coach Bricks,
Coach James.
the Game Changers.